answering some questions about the rally today.
Sure. Who are you guys?
We are
You're not
the Ukrainian community.
You're not going to talk? Okay, sure.
It's fine. We're here with the Ukrainian community. You know,
Okay.
we're kind of representatives of the Ukrainian community. We just wanted to kind of give some support to this rally here.
Yeah.
We heard about it from the Russian Democrats
Yeah,
page.
yeah.
On Instagram, and we thought it was interesting to perhaps try some cooperation between the communities.
No, absolutely.
Obviously, the trust is very low right now.
Yeah, I mean,
For obvious reasons. I have to explain why. But we wanted to ask you guys some questions to see where exactly we stand. You know, if we agree on everything, and if there's some disagreements, that's fine too. But,
okay,
you know,
interesting.
we should check out what the other people are thinking, right?
Okay.
So, without further ado, what do you think would be a realistic solution for this war right now?
A realistic solution? I mean, I don't know. I think obviously peace would be the most desirable solution, and to return obviously Ukraine to the borders of, what is it, 1991, 1992. But I'm not sure how realistic that is at the current moment. But like, I think that we have to strive for something like that. So, I mean, I wrote my dissertation on post-Soviet democratization, so like I have a lot to say about that.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear some of it.
You want me to summarize my dissertation?
No, just a few key points. I mean, obviously.
What? Like I was just comparing Russian and Ukrainian democratization, and the relative success of Ukraine and the failure of Russia in that sense. So yeah.
I mean, I think it's a bit of a spectrum of. I agree with you. I think it's a spectrum of democratization after the post-Soviet democratization. On one hand, there's countries like Poland, for example, that basically NATO EU country now is basically in the same ballpark as the rest of Europe. Then there's Ukraine that was trying to break free from the influence of the Vysoliy Dedushka, as he's called.
Every right to do, because Ukraine is a sovereign country, obviously.
And then there's Russia, which obviously Putin took over, and he decided to step back a lot of things that a lot of possibilities and a lot of potential that there might have been.
I think it wasn't Putin. I think we have to look at the structure that Russia took on, and I think that Yeltsin, for the most part, is also to blame for this.
Yes.
For not allowing democratization to occur. The handing over of power to Putin as opposed to free and fair elections. I think that's very important.
True.
The forgery of Yeltsin's, 1996, I believe, elections. So I think that's what we also need to look at. I don't think that Putin is absolutely evil, and he is, I think, one of the epitomes of absolute
It's not the
evil.
only issue.
No, I think you have to look at the deeper structural, and as a political scientist, that's what I was studying at its core. So yeah,
very true.
But yeah, also Russia isn't Russia. Russia is still the Russian Empire, because the Soviet Union was an inheritor of the Russian Empire, and Russia is an inheritor of the Soviet Union. So we never actually broke through any of that.
Very good point. Would you say that this kind of worldview that Russia has now has not changed for the times of the Russian Empire, even before the Soviet Union and all that?
I mean, if you look at the expansionism that has been occurring, I mean, it never stopped, and I feel like that's the rhetoric that you have to break through. The fact that the only way to prosper is to keep growing, is to expand. I mean, that's bullshit. I think you need to make. Like, I'm Canadian, I think you need to make something out of your own country before you go and, try to impose your will. I mean, you shouldn't be imposing your will onto anyone, but, you have to solve your own issues before you start dictating everybody else's. So.
Very good point. I would guess that this can be traced all the way back to Ivan the Terrible and the Tsardom of Muscovy.
Yeah, I mean, when we were actually having this conversation before we came, how, the centralization of power around Moscow, and I guess, no, for sure. But I think that even with the progressive policies, let's say the progressive policies of Peter or the progressive policies of Alexander weren't all that progressive. They were, at the end of the day, focused on centralizing power within the sort of executive apparatus. And if you look at that, then sort of Putin is also the inheritor of that, the heir to that, because he centralized all the power within the executive as opposed to the legislature and the judiciary. He completely stripped them of all powers. I think it was the 2004 reforms, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah.
As we usually say in our Ukrainian rallies, the Russian government can't sack Putin, but Putin can can't sack the Russian government. You know, it's it
Well,
kind
exactly,
of works.
and I think that's
the other
a
way
direct
around.
result of that. You know, of the fact that he completely made everything else defunct, right? And he just
Less
he
like a
dictates
president, more like a Tsar or a Khan.
everything. Oh yeah, have you read the book? It's I know the name in Russian. It's Nash Knyaz Khan. It's essentially about that how Russia is like never really broke through these sort of
Perpetual
autocratic.
Khanate.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard some opinions of people, well-versed individuals in this whole regard, that say that Russia was forever scarred by the Mongol Empire, by the Mongol Khanate, and they never recovered from that point.
Perhaps. I mean, that's not my area of expertise. I can't say much. My area of expertise is sort of the late 19th century onto the beginning of the 20th. So I can't really speak a lot to that.
I completely agree with you when you said when you're saying that this is not a Putin-only issue. That's absolutely right. This is a much bigger issue than just Putin. But do you not think that if Putin was out of the equation, all the rest would become considerably easier?
I think so. I mean, I think that, well, hopefully, okay, not hopefully, but I think what happened was Putin has pushed Russia to a brink, and whoever is the successor will hopefully see the need to negotiate in order to, again, let's go back to Yeltsin. Yeltsin, the reason why he chose Putin as his successor was guaranteed immunity, right? So hopefully
Yes.
whoever succeeds decides that they want immunity over power, and they negotiate with whoever comes next and negotiate a peaceful transition of power.
Last question. Who, if anyone, could be an alternative to Putin? Could there be some kind of
Anyone, right? Anyone is better than Putin. Anyone who's not from that whole GBF, SB route.
I like that. Sometimes people spread this silly idea that, if you remove Putin, somebody worse is just going to come to power. But I agree with you on that regard. If Putin is out of commission, then everything just gets a lot easier.
Putin doesn't have a personality. Putin doesn't have charisma. Anyone would be better than him.
I've heard people describe him in the other Russian rally that he is a representative for the crooks in Russia, for the criminal syndicate that can be compared to the Russian government.
I mean, perhaps the way that it's structured right now, maybe. But,
Thank you very much.
yeah. Thank you, guys. And your name is?
Pavlo,
Pablo, and you are?
Ames.
what's yours?
Nice to meet you. I'm Mila.
Mila. Nice to meet you, girls. I'll see you.
Yeah, good luck, guys. Yeah.
Estamos aqui a fazer uns discursinhos, umas entrevistazinhas. This fine gentleman here, he's a lovely individual. He's one of our regulars in our Ukrainian rallies.
Of course.
Our man Rui.
It's very important to stand with Ukraine.
Thank you very much, Rui. Did you meet the CNN Portugal guy yesterday?
No, did you do
I
it?
did. I met him. Yeah, I met him. My mom sent me a message saying that one of her bosses saw me on TV.
Really.
I wish he met with you. You said some good messages to him last time you spoke.
I spoke with him. I think it was on Independence Day.
Yes.
Yes, and some of the people I know in Portugal actually watched the interview. So it was
Very nice.
It spreads. It's good that information spreads.
That's the
Every
whole
country.
point. That's the whole point. I mean, this is part of the solution to our problem. To be able to spread this information, to be able to stand together and to show the world that Putin's base is not. Is not absolute.
Exactly.
Putin does not have a monopoly on Russian support.
It does not. It's super important to politicize the Russian sphere. If this is one of those events that helps with that, I think we should contribute to it as well. I brought my poster here for
Let's see it.
people to pledge. It's a petition for people to pledge the government to pledge 0.25% of GDP for military aid to Ukraine. This is a European-wide initiative. It started with Estonia. We want all European countries to follow suit. So this is the petition for the UK. Please sign it. You can search online just by typing petition 0.5% GDP or scan this, and it will take you there.
Lovely stuff. Very nice.
But guys, continue your work.
Thank you. We'll have more questions and then we will be with you again.